So, fellas, Charlie Kirk was publicly assassinated with a very precise and gruesome shot to his neck. Now, I'm used to seeing online gore since the advent of consumer internet when I was 12. This is some stuff you'd have to go to ogrish.com or some other gore site if you wanted to see some messed up deaths online. I am fully desensitized to it. Never for a moment was I sad seeing it, only because all of the sadness has left my body. Because I've been seeing things escalate for a decade now. All of my sadness is immediately turned into anger. Because I know it won't stop. Now, of course I'm not telling people to not grieve and feel sadness. I deeply empathize with sadness. Because I know what it's like to feel very, very sad. But I have a deeply intimate knowledge of the left. How they operate, their various factions, blah 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 blah. I know them as people. I know what they're like behind the scenes. I know what they do when no one's looking. They've talked to me about it. I've witnessed it. But anyways, let me be horrifically blunt and uncomfortable for a moment. They will keep doing this. They are not going to stop. These people love to see your pain. It is the evil you've been warned about. It is the evil discussed in your religious text of choice. Now, it's one thing to read about evil, and then we take another step, and it's different when you experience the evil, and then we take a very large leap down the rabbit hole and realize we have been surrounded by this evil for generations. Your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren, and I'm sure they're great. I'm sure they're the greatest grandchildren that have ever existed. Oh, you'd love to meet them, they're so great. But they're going to encounter this evil as well. You see, there's going to be more statues of George Floyd than Charlie Kirk. Don't lie to yourself, and that's just gonna happen. And even if we erected statues of Charlie Kirk across the country and you end up proving me wrong and you say, see, there's more statues of Charlie Kirk, the left will just be allowed to deface those statues and maybe even tear them down. If they tore down statues of the Founding Fathers, what do you think's gonna happen? Now, this probably sounds like I'm blackpilled, but I don't sound very blackpilled, do I? I'm silly and high energy when I make these videos. I'm not blackpilled. Do you want to know why, fellas? Because they want you to be blackpilled. You see, I don't focus on what I can't control, I focus on what I can control. I know they want to demoralize me. I know they want to destabilize the country. I know they want me to feel helpless, as I am against this Leviathan. But I refuse to feel that way. Now, I'm an atheist. I have no higher power to defer to. I would love to believe in God. I'm not rejecting God, I'm not even doubting God. I have had every reason to be a communist with the material world I grew up in, and who I hung out with. I also have every reason to believe in God with the nothing short of miracles that have happened in my life. God is good. Atheists are an absolute fucking nightmare. I'm right there with you. Somehow I have been unintentionally developing a religious audience. I don't care about the spoken word, I care about the person behind the words. I have spent the last decade screaming from the rooftops trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, and why I'm seeing things that I know other people are seeing and they're not saying anything. It was unbelievably difficult to do alone. So I wanted to create a landing pad for people to try and figure out what the fuck is going on. It's incredibly distressing to have the framework of your reality shattered and try to pick up the pieces and put them back together. You lose your friends, you lose your family, it's very confusing. Because you're following the truth, and you have evidence for what you're saying, and your altruistic heart is deemed dangerous and hateful. It's crushing. So in the wake of the Charlie Kirk assassination, as they're dancing on his grave, what now? What's the next step? What do we do? Fair questions. Well, let's start here. Let's start with what I believe I know to be true. All of your hate and scorn will be used against you. Any preemptive violence is, before I say anything else, morally wrong. It's not that it's the wrong thing to do, it's that it's immoral. But even if it was somehow moral, which it's not, that would be held against the right way more than the assassination itself. As you're listening to this, they are already planning and plotting how they're going to use your reaction against you and your political party. This is the feeling we always have. Celebrities got to go to George Floyd's funeral publicly televised as an act of worship, while you weren't even allowed to go to the small, private funerals of your loved ones. Super sad, I agree. But it never ends, and it's never going to end. So what now? We're all very emotional, and we want direction of what to do. Well, before you decide what to do, we should all agree you need to have the appropriate temperament before engaging in efficacious logical thought. If you're not there, which is more than understandable, grieve. I have no problem if you never stop grieving. Everyone has their role to play. My role in this space is to keep you in a high enough spirit to be presented frustrating people from the left you're very well aware of, and if you're on the fence, give you a compelling case as to how nefarious these people really are. But what do we do? How do we stop them? Well, we can't. They have globally infiltrated our countries. I'm not supposed to be able to give you an answer right now. So let's think about it. Boy, oh boy, would I love to believe in a higher metaphysical being right now. But I don't. So my epistemology stems from the material world, and what I know is what my opposition wants me to feel like. Which is how I almost feel right now. Lost, helpless. But I don't feel that way, because I refuse to feel that way. There's an answer to this. There's an answer somewhere. And if I were my opposition, I would want to make us feel like we can't talk about this however the fuck we want to talk about it. We are the last bastion of free speech, fellas. That's it after us. It all goes away. So I'm just gonna spitball here. Step 1. Expression. Do not let them anywhere near your expression and your humanity. I saw this whole thing differently when I heard Alex Jones say they want to use your humanity against you. Pivotal. They're gonna call you a Nazi anyway. Charlie Kirk highlighted enthusiastically how pro-gay Trump was in 2019. They don't care. They want you scared to express yourself. Controlling how you think is easy. They want to control how you feel. They want you to second guess your heart. And fellas, what happens when we find out what they want us to do? We refuse to do it. The ultimate act of resistance. Step 2. Stoic temperament. Now, this one's a little tricky. Once you've taken back ownership of your expression, oh, it's gonna shoot wild. It's gonna look crazy. You're gonna be made to feel crazy. And worse, socially ostracized and punished. For having all the proof in the world of what's going on and justifying your moral indignation, and your knee-jerk reaction will be made to seem crazy. But I want to help you find a way to make it palatable. Step 1 is easy. Not giving a fuck and expressing yourself is cathartic. But we're dealing with very politically savvy people. You have to have the ability to be in control of your temperament. Step 3. Gratitude with attitude. How can you just go from expressing yourself to deciding how you feel? Here's how I find gratitude as an atheist. I defer to my conception of the universe. I was fortunate enough to exist. Sure, not very compelling so far. Let's go deeper. I was born in the United States. Most of the world lives in poverty and in horrible conditions. Yeah, well, aren't we all? Now I want to get hyper granular. Think of all the times you should have died but didn't. I know this is really hard to believe, but when I was being born, the umbilical cord was strangling me out of my mother's womb. Close call. We're getting pretty lucky. When I was in the Bahamas, a female lifeguard warned us fellas to not get sucked in by the red tide. As soon as she walked away, I said to the fellas, like I'm gonna listen to some clam tell me what to do. I almost immediately got sucked in by a red tide, and in a panic, swam as hard as I could, 100% against the current. A male lifeguard walked in diagonally to save my life, grabbed me by the scruff of my neck, and dragged me to shore. They then told everyone to get out of the water. On the list of my embarrassing stories, this isn't even on the list. So that's what my mind sounds like when I interpret gratitude. I could fill you with 5 hours of gratitude. But what about the attitude? Well, once you get used to the constant antagonization and mid-level violence, you might have a chip on your shoulder. You start to notice certain behaviors that raise a red flag. But you've been raised in a liberal society to not judge people, so you've been programmed to go against your intuitions. You don't want to scream, and you don't want to be silent, so you have to find a way to be assertive. You can only be effectively assertive once you've learned how to express yourself unabashedly, combined with the appropriate temperament for the interaction. Step 4. A sense of duty. Sure, you have gratitude, but you got that assertive chip on your shoulder. You have to believe in something outside of yourself. Please try to stay with me in how I have come to personally ingratiate duty into my godless life. The worms eat me when I die, and nothing happens after. So why would I care? Why would I care about what happens to future generations? Why would I want to plant a tree whose fruit I would never taste? For me personally, vengeance, autonomy, an elevated consciousness while I'm here. Because I have to. Because if I won't, no one else will. I could die happy tomorrow, because I express myself in the temperament that I choose, with unbelievable gratitude every day, combined with the satisfaction of giving that attitude to those I deem worthy of scorn and pushback, followed by a sense of duty to help alleviate the amount of distress I have personally been through in these trying times, and I really enjoy making other people laugh. Step 5. Peace is your greatest weapon. I use peace and seek peace. You're only in the moment when you're at ease, at peace, accepting. I'm never unplugged from this stuff. I'm not talking about distractions. I can't watch new movies or listen to new music. It's done. You can never go home. I already got all the coolest shit. Gratitude. It's all gone. Living in the past isn't peace, and the only thing that determines the future is the present. You find peace through allowing yourself to be in a temperament that allows for gratitude. Once you have peace, you're dangerous. I mean it. You're invincible. No one can get to you. You accept what's happening is manufactured, and we're all a part of it. How can peace be a weapon? Well, it's the precursor to courage. All courage is being at peace with what is about to happen and accepting what will happen. It becomes a reflex once you can access peace. You know, peace, the part of you they want to destroy and manipulate into evil, that's yours. No one else can ever have that. It's why people like you and want to be around you. You're not envious, you don't covet, you're present, actively listening, interested, welcoming. You want those close to you to be able to access the same calm, comfortable nature. You don't want them to emulate it or be like you. You want them to access the parts of themselves that make them complete. Comfortable silence, not a state of bliss, but allowing your conscious and subconscious brain to chat with each other. This is where inspiration and creativity come from. Remember who you were before this. You still have access to that person. You can only learn to listen to the best parts of your former self through peace. Whew! Wow, I feel a lot better. I had a massive headache all day. I can compartmentalize decades worth of reality-bending turmoil, but realizing what this moment means and how we have to hang on to it for as long as possible is very heavy. It's important. Hopefully there's a massive shift culturally that's about to happen. We have earned the opportunity at power. We deserve power. We already have so many laws on the books that we can already enforce. We just need the power to enforce doctrine. We have earned a right at the shot at power. Yes, it is a right to power. If you disagree with me in terms of calling power a right, I completely understand. But your enemies have power over you because they believe they have a right to power. You might doubt yourself because you're an honest, good person, and there's probably a good chance that you would do a much better job in power than the current person in power. And it might just be you've been surrounded by circumstances to make you feel powerless your entire life. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist or anything, but there might be an elaborate plan to make you feel powerless and like a bad person when you know deep down you're a good person and you just want your potential to be utilized. Oh my, am I still yapping? Alright, so I guess I'll end it here. I've tried to give the most universal advice and prescriptions possible. I've shown you my epistemology and how I came to these conclusions. I have absolutely no idea how this video is going to be perceived, but I'm unaffected because I'm just expressing myself with the most appropriate temperament of my choosing, while feeling gratitude, always leaving room for attitude, with a sense of duty to seek peace. Thanks for coming to my sped talk. The mocking will continue until morale improves. Have a good one, fellas.